Hello again.
Here we are with our rig.
Yeah, this is our rig and we're going to start analyzing the rig now. If you've never seen a rig like this, it's going to be very exciting. We're going to explain a few different concepts. The main one is going to be the difference between inverse kinematics and forward kinematics, because
Inverse kinematics and forward kinematics.
in short, it's going to be IK and FK. Okay, so first we're going to think about what is FK and IK. If you think about I'm going to make a new project. So usually forward kinematics, or IK, is the most intuitive one. And I think you were once describing it as something similar to what you do when you're making stop motion, and a stop motion character. So I'm going to make this editable with C. I'm going to change the anchor point, and I'm going to put the anchor point of the bone at the very beginning of the bone. And now I'm going to copy this cylinder. I'm going to put it as a child, and I'm going to move it at the end of this chain.
So you're making a little arm here.
And then, yeah, and then I'm going to put this one as a chain after this one and this one. I'm going to make a copy as a chain. It's more than an arm. It's a long tail. So what happens in forward kinematics, and it's called forward because one thing moves another and the chain moves forward at every step.
Okay.
So let's say if we want the tip of this tail to be in any point around here, what we would do is we rotate a bit, we rotate a bit, we rotate a bit, and we rotate a tiny bit more. And then we reach that arc. And then in reality, that's how everything works. When we are making a character in stop motion, that's how we do it. And we can animate like this because we can animate the rotation. Imagine you put a keyframe. Let's put a keyframe on rotation on this object. These are the three rotations that we have, the three directions of the rotation. So we have a position there and another position of rotation there. And I'm going to put keyframes again. And then in the second one, we will do the same. We would have another rotation differently. And in the second position, we have another rotation that is completely different. And what we see here is that we are generating a movement in which one thing is following another. The thing is, it's a bit complicated sometimes. Imagine we have a character that's holding a glass of water, and we want the arm to reach the glass of water. Sometimes it's a bit complicated to know which specific rotations do we need to achieve the final point of the chain to reach the glass of water.
Yeah.
Okay? And let's look at it in this occasion. When we have our character here, if let's say we are animating our character going upstairs, we will have to have this the feet of the character reaching the step, and to reach the step we will have to rotate this part of the leg one direction and then the knee the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And it's quite complicated for the movement. But when we have IK, which is inverse kinematics, what we say is to the program, we say, where's the final position? So we only say to the program, where is the foot? And then the program calculates where the rest of the points are. And let's see how it works.
So you move the foot, and then the program knows because you've moved the foot in that direction, naturally that's the movement that the leg would make.
The program knows quite a lot, because imagine that the program knows that the knee never bends backwards. We are not a flamingo or a you call them flamingos, no?
Yeah.
So the program is quite good. You see, when it reaches the end, it stops.
Yeah.
It stops there. But the problem we have is that the program doesn't know if the knee, for example, if you were doing some yoga position or a squat and the knee wanted to go outwards, how will you reach that? Because you can tell the program, oh, I want the foot to be pointing outwards. And that helps a bit. But what if we wanted the opposite? We want the foot pointing outwards, but the knee pointing inwards.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we have this pole. And when we move this pole, even with the foot in the same position, we change the direction of the rotation. So now we can do some exercise videos, you see? We can. Okay, let's go back. And we have activated this forward kinematics or inverse kinematics, depending on what we want for different parts of our character. So for example, if we hold the end, these cubes are giving us the directions, the positions of the inverse kinematics. So we say wherever we want the arm to be, and all the rotation is happening automatically.
Okay.
But sometimes when we are having a character doing a walk cycle, the arm is going back and forth like this, in creating an arc. And that arc, an arc or an arch?
Arc.
So that arc is quite difficult to do with this inverse kinematics mode, because we would have to animate this rotation like that. You know, the arm would have to be rotated there, and then we'll have to make a lot of points to make a proper arc that is pretty. And you see that the elbow is doing weird things there.
Yeah, and the hand is always down like that.
The hand is always down, so we'll have to move it, and then we'll have to rotate the hand. It's quite complicated. So what if we had a system in which we could change from one system to another?
From inverse kinematics to forward kinematics.
Yeah, and also, what if the system allows us to do it in different parts of the body? So we could say the right arm, and we go here to the controls. We have IK, FK blend. And look what happens when I do. We have the right arm that is here. And when I go with this, you see what's happening. Suddenly new controllers are appearing. And these new controllers are here. Now my arm is a bit twisted, so I can retwist it so it's working well there. And no worries about all these twists, because they are then controllers to solve that. We have the, where is this? If we select the arm, it has to be somewhere around there. I think it's something about stretch, squash, so many controllers. Anyway, it's possible to correct all those things, but the important thing is in these FK controllers, that is this one with the circle and the arrow, we're going to be able to rotate the arm down, and then we're going to have all we wanted, simply animating this back and forth. And so only with 2 points of animation, we can get a nice walk cycle arm rotating. Obviously, right now, the arm is not rotated the correct direction, the right direction.
But if we put it into the right position.
If we put it in the right position, I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to put that there. That's starting to look much better. And now we were to rotate, it would slowly create that. And we could generate a secondary motion, animating the elbow. We're going to learn that. That's for another course. I'm only showing the possibilities, so no worries about how it's looking right now. We are only solving things. And another thing that you can tell, probably you noticed when I rotated, you notice that the body goes inwards.
Yeah.
That's because of the weights. The weights is how the bones, we have a bone system that is telling us how, let's say, the entire mesh, the muscles of the character are being affected by each bone. If now everyone at home, depending on how strong they are, but when they flex their elbow as if you are a culturist,
like a bodybuilder.
A bodybuilder. We say culturista in Spanish. So if you flex your muscles, you see how parts of your body are going to get smaller, but if you have big muscles, they're going to grow. And that's what we do with the weights on our character. So we are going to be able to adjust those weights to solve many of those problems that can appear when we are moving our character. And you see that those problems are everywhere. For example, when we are moving the leg, you see here on the top, the belly is getting inwards.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to adjust them now, but no worries about adjusting them to perfection, because we have clothes on top of our character.
Yeah.
And as we always say in Cabeza Patata, only put time and effort on things that are visible. If it's not visible, don't spend your life trying to solve something that people are not going to see.
Yeah, it can just get frustrating, and also I think sometimes can make the project end up not even looking that good because you're putting your attention in the wrong place.
Exactly. Another thing we have here is we have a lot of controllers for our hands, and these are very cool. So these ones control individual fingers. So if we move them, this one is not doing anything because for a finger that is invisible. But these ones control the finger up and down. And I think if we rotate them, we move them, we are getting outwards and inwards for our fingers. And this one is one of my favorites. This one, the big one, is controlling all the fingers at the same time. You see?
So if you wanted to pick something up.
And also, if we move it laterally, it's generating a bit of asynchrony between the fingers. So we can stretch it. We can, if someone is waiting for someone, they can make those movements. Very interesting. And also we have another controller. We can control our thumb. If you see these ones that have the circle and the arrow, those are the forward kinematics. So it's controlling individually. And it gives us a lot of control over the specific things that we want to do. And then here we have the IK for the entire arm, and we can see how our elbow is rotating. And we have another pole for the elbow, so we can put it up and down. That's quite good. We have another pole here for the entire clavicula. And then we have a local controllers here, for example, on the hips, we can generate rotation, and it's going to work with the IK, so it's going to make the entire body rotate. And do you see that right now the head is not following?
Oh, yeah.
That is because, and I'm showing this head now, in reality this is the other head that we had, and I'm going to deactivate. So that head is rotating, but that's not the head we want. Okay, the head is a bit too ugly, and we said that we might animate with this, but at some point we're going to have the real head. Okay, so I'm going to make that head disappear, and I'm going to show you how we can attach that head to the entire character. And also this is going to be the way in which we are going to attach anything we want to the character.
So if we want to give them a hat later or something.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is inside the spline here, in display, here we see that we have the display that we have in the viewport, and managers, we are only showing components. So components are these ones. But in reality right now we have a much bigger hierarchy than that what the program is showing us. So now we go here and we say full hierarchy. Look what's going to happen. Boom. And this is gigantic. Wow. This is all that the program has done for us. Is every single bone that is in this body is being shown right now. And no worries, we are not going to need to use them all. But there is an important one here that says head. You see that there's a head controller?
Yeah.
That head controller is one of them that we need. I'm not sure exactly which one. It's one of these head controllers that are at the top. We want a top head controller, probably this one, head, switch, neck. And that looks quite good, and that's going to follow the hierarchy. So we're going to have to select the heads first. The selection order is important. Select it first, and then pressing Control, we're going to select that head. And I think we said that it was this head, switch, neck. I click, so now I selected the head and head, switch, neck, pressing Control at the same time. And now I'm going to go to character. If you are using Mac, when I say Control, I mean command. And then I'm using character, constraints, and we're going to use, I think they changed the names of things because they love changing everything, but I think it's a parent constraint. So we are going to add a parent constraint. Nothing has changed. Everything looks the same. Now we're going to go to the toon rig. In the full hierarchy, we're going to go to components again because it stresses me out looking at so many things. But now when I move the stuff, my head is following.
Yeah.
But my head is following. I don't want to stretch it too much. I'm having some problems, as you see. But my head is following. But not only following, is that now my head is following inside a null. So that means that if I make I don't know, a fun hat for our character, and I put it there, a party hat, and I put it there, I simply have to put it inside the head controller, and that's it. That's going to follow. Everything is completely attached right now. That's not the one I wanted to move. Let's see if this one is going to allow us to move. And you see, the hat is moving with everything. And that is fantastic. I mean, makes life so simple because we can animate and then decide which things are going to put in our character.
Yeah.
Even in theory, we could at some point change the head of the character.
Yeah.
Put a completely different character and it would work anyway. So
that's a nice trick.
And we have nulls all over. So we want to put a watch. We will put some rings. We want to put shoes. We want to put whatever we need. We're going to be able to add to our character.
I'm sure that we're going to want to do that later. So
100% we want to do that. And the last part we're going to check is the foot. So here we have a few controllers. I think in this one, we're going to be able to change the tip of the foot. So this allows us to rotate. So sometimes when we are touching on the ground, we want to generate that type of, sometimes when you are trying to get high to a high position, or sometimes when you are walking, you try to get on your tiptoes like that. So you try to go like that, you go like that, and your foot does that to touch on the ground. That can happen. So we have a few different controllers on that. I'm adjusting as I go and showing a bit what the possibilities of what we have. And then if you want to see more controllers inside the spline, if some people like going in here and they can do the controllers inside these menus. And you can hear here you have a lot of individual rotations for things and enable soft IK. What I recommend is people to go around and start checking because the controllers that we have are so many that the best way is to start experimenting and checking everything we have. Because this rig is made with the ability to do a lot of stretches as well if you want to make the body longer. This is the good thing about the toon rig, because sometimes when people want to animate, they want to be able to have these stretches, these extreme versions of stretches to be able to make weird positions, and this rig allows us to do that.
That looks fantastic.
It's looking good, isn't it?
Yeah, I really love it. I feel like so many possibilities.
And now the final thing we're going to check here, a really tiny adjustments on the weights. As we are saying, we're not going to go very deep into the weights, but we're going to show where they are and a couple adjustments, okay? So we're going to go inside rigging panel, it's hidden in here. And if we select the body in the red topology, it looks very weird because I need to deactivate the subdivision surface. And now we are seeing the weights. And the weights look crazy. It looks like we are maybe working on as a SWAT team, and we are checking on the criminals through a wall, and there's a heat map.
It looks kind of beautiful.
Yeah, so it's not a heat map. The only thing that the weights are representing are different bones, and each of these bones have a different color that has been assigned automatically by the program, and the color is showing the influence of that bone. For example, let's go to the arm. The arm is going to be the green section, so the program is making things easy for us. And the creators of this rig made these FAN, F-A-N bones, and those are the most important ones because those are the ones that are going to be creating the biggest joints, the joints that we need to adjust the most.
Okay.
So we select, for example, elbow fan, and we select that. You see what the elbow fan is doing? It's affecting the elbow area. And we see that it's not very smooth. It's making a really ugly thing there. So we can correct a bit these weights. The best thing I found is selecting all the weights. So we are selecting all the weights, and here in commands, in the weight manager panel in command, we can go to smooth, put 100% smooth, and look what's happening when I say apply to all. You see what happened?
Oh yeah, some of the colors kind of.
The colors blend a bit better, and because we have such soft character, I might do a bit of lesser strength and apply to all again. You see how the colors are getting smoother? And for me, that already was giving us a better situation because the thing is working, but now it's much smoother.
Yeah, before it was dipping straight into the body and making the body do something weird.
So it's a nice little trick to start the weight system. And now I'm gonna select again the red topology, go to my joints. I'm here in my entire system. I have all the weights. And I was saying before, we can go to the elbow one and we can select the geometry. It's the easiest way of doing it. You can do it with painting. You can paint by hand. I find it a bit complicated. So we can select geometry. So we can select a couple points there. And in commands, we can, for example, we can do add intensity. And we can apply intensity to the selected. Probably that's a bit too much, but we can add a bit more intensity.
Okay.
And now let's see what's happening. Because now when we have a bit more intensity in that part, it's going to accentuate a tiny bit more the bend there. And for me, it's already working much better.
Kind of a sharper bend almost.
Yeah, a bit sharper bend. And as soon as we put it in the smooth,
yeah,
it's already working much better, okay? That's a bend that for me, it's good enough. It's not perfect, someone might say, but in reality, for the type of bends we do, this is looking really good. So I'm gonna do the same on my, oh, by the way, instead of doing Ctrl-Z, I can go here and somewhere around my object, we can reset the pose and the poses go back to the beginning. So sorry for doing so much Ctrl-Z because I know that sometimes people, when I'm following the tutorial, they are like, why is everything going backwards? So let's go back to the other side. This doesn't have the symmetry activated right now, so we're gonna do it by hand here. Select, loop selection, and we're gonna select a couple bones there. Commands, add, and we're gonna apply selected. So we're gonna put a bit more intensity there. And let's do the same with the joints that are, and selecting the red topology again, but the ones underneath. I know it's the pink and the red. So I can go here.
And you're looking for the fan?
I'm looking for the fan, selecting those two, and I'm putting a bit more intensity there because I discovered that helps.
Yeah.
And now the same knee fan and adding a bit more intensity. So we have a bit more accentuated bend there. Very important, by the way, that when we are applying all of this, to have auto-normalize applied. Because if we don't have auto-normalize applied, it's applying intensity to a bone without compensating the intensity from the other bones. And what you generate when you do that is so much intensity on the weights that when you move a bone, the geometry starts going to crazy places. It's a bit difficult to explain now, but trust me, auto-normalize needs to be activated. And the next step that we're gonna do is check the area. Do you remember the area in the belly? So I'm gonna select the leg and see what's happening there, because maybe it's a bit solved now. I'm gonna put it in with the subdivision. That's working quite well to me. The belly is still going a bit inwards. Do you see how it's going a bit? So I don't like that, but to be fair, to be honest, it works quite well when we put clothes, because one of the annoying things of Marvelous Designer is the clothes are crossing with the geometry of the character, so that inwards helps a lot. So I'm not going to try to solve it too much because it plays in our favor.
I think that's a really good point. That is something crucial to think about when you're doing this, knowing that Marvelous Design is coming up. Because a lot of people in still images complain about clothes crossing, and you don't know what's coming up in animation.
In animation, it's crazy. That's the reason why not that many people are doing it. It's because it's crazy in animation. So it would be around here, the left tight fan bind. You see that it's getting too much into the belly. So here there are a few different things. You could do subtract, and with the painting, you could subtract. It's not working well now. It's adding instead of subtracting. It's quite complicated, all of this theory, because it's not here. It's in mode absolute. Anyway, I'm not going to start painting. I'm going to do it maximum simple because it stresses me out a bit. So I'm going to do smooth, and I'm going to apply. So I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to smooth it out. So now I get a bit smoother version of that. And that's already working much better. Let's see on this side. This goes in a bit too much. So now we're going to go in the joints. Go there. And how was that called? It was in the pink area.
The thigh.
So that was in the leg, thigh. And we're going to apply a bit of smoothness. And as I'm saying, we could do the weights here with the weight tool. It's a bit stressful. I have to say it's a bit stressful. So I think we can do negative. Oh yeah, we do negative strength. So that's how it would be. But if someone wants to go around and do it by hand on that, yeah, that would be the idea. So you will have in the thigh, and you will start painting in verse. So only to show it, so people know I'm not lying. That's how you would do. So you would do a strength of, let's say, -12, bigger radius, minus a bit less, and you will start painting out elements from here, okay?
You can see that it has a similar kind of effect to when you apply the smoothness, and it reduces like that.
Yeah, it reduces. You could do subtract here, it would be the same, 10%, and you slowly subtract, and you start subtracting, and that would help our bones when we are doing it. I know that at this point some people are saying, what is this weights thing? And it's quite a complicated thing, but I show you more or less here how you can correct them in a simple way. So now, I don't want to bore people with all of these corrections because they are tiny corrections. We might do a few more, but we're not going to go crazy with these corrections. And in the next course, because this is going to be a completed course doing everything, but for now we're going to close this course with the character being rigged. And we're going to give away this character so people can start having fun. And in the next course, we're going to see how to animate a walk cycle.
How exciting.
This was so exciting. And I think this is the most exciting project right now on Patata School. And the one that's going to bring, I think, many people to the school and so much excitement. And I'm so happy because there's so much secrets being shared about the character design world with the animation. People don't talk about how you do it in cinema, and I'm so happy that we're being open about it and that everyone is going to be able to rig their characters.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what people are going to make. Good luck, everybody.
So exciting. Okay, cannot wait to see. Bye.
Bye.